So while I'm talking to this mutual friend who's a cop about all of this, we're like, we really got to talk to Gerline because something's not right. Something's just not right about this. And the math ain't mathing, the dots ain't connecting. And we're like, we got to talk to Gerline. We're trying to figure out how we're going to do that because it's just like, this is such a tender situation. And how do you say to a friend that we think something more happened to your son than a drowning? So we're trying to figure out how we're going to talk to her. So we're working around each other's schedules. So we figure out, all right, one day we're going to go talk to Gerline. So one night when we're all free, we're like, hey, Gerline, we want to come over and we want to chat. It's around like a little bit after midnight. That's when we're all available to go there. And we end up going there. But of course, the two friends were there. The one that invited her to Jacksonville, Florida, and the one that had the creepy Instagram posts and the weird presentation and the to-do list. So they're there. We go into the house. It's dark. New carpet is laid out, and it's this weird smell in the air. Can't place it. I don't know what it is. But we're like, why is it so dark? Like, you know what I mean? We go in there, and the way they were sitting was kind of weird, too. You got one friend like this, and Gerline in the middle. It's like a 3-point circle of some sort. I don't know what it was. They never turned the lights on. So we're in the house. Gerline had asked me to create a video, like a slideshow of Gavin for the funeral. And I did that, of course. And I was like, as we're talking, I eventually want to show Gerline the video that I did. So I showed Gerline, and the friend that invited her to Jacksonville, Florida, comes over, and she's looking at it and she's nodding like in approval. Then she looks at Gerline and says to her, this is good. It's because she cares. And to me, that was just a weird statement because aren't we all supposed to be caring? Why are you highlighting that I care? I don't understand. Like in my head, I interpret it as like, y'all don't care because what do you mean? It's because she cares. Shouldn't y'all all care? I don't know. That was just a weird statement to me. And now as we sit, and I'm like, something just came up in me. I'm like, I'm going to challenge y'all. Let me just say what I want to say because I wanted to see what they were going to do, like their reactions. I do that. I test people with stuff to see how they would react. So I'm like, did you know that there's a homicide investigation open for the last kid that drowned? And then the friend, the one that invited her to Jacksonville, Florida, starts looking down at the carpet, moving from side to side. She's like, we're not really worried about that. We just want to make sure this is not going to happen to other kids. We're really concerned about the lawsuit. And she looks up at me. And then her eyes start going like this. I kid you not, bro. When I tell you, son, her eyes were moving like this. And she didn't even look at my friend. She only looked at me. And it was like some weird light behind her eyes, son. And it was going like this. Just back and forth, super fast. Mind you, this mutual friend is like Italian girl who don't know nothing about witchcraft or nothing like that. I only know about it because of my previous findings and research in this apparatus of the demonic elite. But even she was shocked because she saw her eyes too. And eventually we're like, yo, we gotta go. So we're like, we're trying to leave. But for some reason, they wanted me to stay. They were like, oh, the friend could leave, but you stay. I was like, no, I gotta go. So I leave out, and my friend, the mutual friend, just starts crying. Like, oh my gosh. She don't believe in none of this. And when she saw that lady's eyes, she was like, oh my gosh. What in the world is this? What did I step into? What is this evil? Because the look that woman gave me is not a joke. It was like she was trying to stare through my soul. It was weird. At this point, me and the mutual friend discussing what happened, that night. We're like, yo, this is weird. We really don't want no parts. And I start distancing myself from Gerline because I don't really know what her perspective was. Because I'm like, you acting really weird. You don't have anything to say. You're just like a shell right there, and you letting these women just tell you exactly what to do. But again, not realizing at the time that Gerline is going through severe grief. So I just wish I could turn back the hands of time, but it's just whatever. So at this point, I start distancing myself from Gerline. I'm like, I'm not going to that funeral. Because that look that woman gave me, I felt like extreme evil vibes. it's not even like danger vibes. I felt evil within her spirit. Like the way she looked at me, them eyes. No. I wish I could just record it so that I could just replay it for y'all so y'all could see it for yourselves. I start distancing myself and I'm like, yo, I don't want no parts of this. Cause I'm the one running the GoFundMe. And I'm like, yo, I'm about to cut this off. I'm gonna send her the money and that's it. Cause I don't want no parts of this. If this is what they're doing, if this is like a whole organized thing, I don't want no parts. So I cut it off. And I'm gonna post those texts. But basically concerned, like really concerned about the GoFundMe. Can you put it up back on? Oh, people want to donate. Can you put it back on? Can you put it back on? Like fiending. I'm like, dude, we raised over $12,000. Gerline is a successful woman. She will be fine. Why are you so going hard about this money? Why do you care so much? So I'm like, no, it can't go back on. I'm gonna post some text messages. After I get these text messages, I block her. Done. I block all of the contacts. I block all of her friends. Ain't nobody contacting me. Because if y'all doing some ritual sacrifice to children, to your own child, because I'm thinking Gerline is involved at this point. So I'm done. Blocked her. My friend blocked them. They all blocked. And we weren't going to that funeral. Period. Point blank. Because it was like some weird demonic stuff. Like, I don't know. The vibes was just off, bro. And they were acting like it was a celebration. Like people smiling and laughing. This is a 4-year-old that allegedly drowned. There's really no reason to be smiling. That's a child's life cut short. What are you celebrating for? So all of that was weird vibes to me. So I blocked them. They trying to contact me. Ain't nobody able to contact me. All of a sudden, someone sends me a link to a new GoFundMe page with the wording that Gerline was not going to come back to work. And I'm like, wait a minute. She was saying that she needs to go back to work. She's talking about she needs to go back to work. Like she's adamant about going back to work. She needed something to focus on. So I'm like, so after the GoFundMe cut off and I block you, all of a sudden you saying that you're no longer going back to work? You're taking a year off? I'm like, nah, boy. And at this point, I think Gerline's completely involved. But not realizing that it was the friends that created that GoFundMe. The other friend with that weird Instagram post on May 31st. And I'm going to post that too. Public knowledge. Anyways, yeah. So I stopped talking to Gerline for months. People are trying to reconcile us. And like, honestly, I just didn't want no parts. I didn't want no involvement. When I feel too overwhelmed by something, I just completely like distance. Like, I don't want no parts. So it goes months without me talking. We got co-workers trying to reconcile us because remember that we work within the same building, but I just ignore her completely. And at the end of the day, I don't know who I can talk to because obviously nobody's going to believe me. I'm saying a kid is ritually sacrificed and that I think these two women are involved like in some demonic witchcraft stuff. Nobody's going to believe me. So I stay quiet on it and I just ignore her. I don't talk to anybody about it. People want to know why I stopped talking to her. I'm just mute because you're not going to believe me. What's the point? Y'all just going to call me crazy. So I'm just like, whatever. I know what happened. I know the dealings. I know what's the vibes. So stop talking to her for months. It comes to October, the ending of October. So it comes to the end of October. I receive a phone call on my phone. And it's the name of her older son. And I'm like, I know this got to be her. But I was like, let me answer it. I answer it. She's like, listen, can we talk? I'm like, something in my heart was just like, let me hear her out. Because I just assumed that she was a part of it. I don't know for sure. You know, I don't know the dealings behind it. And I'm like, you know what? Let me just finally talk to her. I go to her house. I start going off. I'm like, yo, we've been working together for years in this school. We always stood up for kids. I don't understand how you're just so nonchalant about everything going on. Why aren't you fighting for your son the way we fought for these kids in this school? It was just weird to me. And she was like, you know, I understand. When I tell you I love this woman, I really loved her. It was just so unbelievable to me that she could even be capable of something. It was just, everything was saying to me that she was a part of it. So it's like, you know what, let me go talk to her. Because I did miss her. That was my best friend. Truthfully. So it was just weird not even like being around her, like kind of avoiding her tunnel vision. So I'm like, yo, let me talk to her. I go to her house and I start talking.